Where is the diva of dump divas? Where is the elegant and equally passionate Kat Engelbert? Imagine the irony. I guess the cat has the cat's tongue.
Recently, the WNBA has experienced a surge in interest, with Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's dynamic guard, at its core. Her meteoric rise has revolutionized the league's prominence. Her performances that broke records, she has become a household figure thanks to her amazing collegiate career and unquestionable charisma, attracting previously unheard-of audiences and increasing TV ratings. However, it gets intriguing since not everyone in the league is happy about Clark's domination.
She fouled out at 6, and it was the ticky-tack fouls, and again, Caitlin Clark doing a little bit of an acting job. Not sure if that was actually a foul, but again,
Brittney Griner of the Atlanta Dreams Veteran Center is one of those who appears to be caught in the shadow of her fame. Her words and deeds have ignited a flurry of controversy, and believe me when I say that this is when things go terribly wrong. With her 9 All-Star selections, Brittney Griner, a titan in the WNBA with a storied career, has long been a formidable presence. She is a legendary figure in her own right thanks to her Olympic gold medals and her on-court presence.
What are you looking forward to the most for playing for Atlanta?
I'm going to say something off the court. Lemon pepper wings. I can't wait to get them lemon pepper wings. But on the court, I mean, it's just going to be amazing, having everyone around me, setting screens for them, getting them open, getting to the basket. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to go out there and run up and down that court with them because it's going to be something special.
However, in the 2025 season, her frustrations boiled over in a way that no one saw coming, especially during a heated matchup against Clark's Indiana Fever on May 22nd. The clip went viral, garnering millions of views and sparking a heated debate on social media and in sports media alike. But here's the part that no one saw coming. The WNBA's response, or lack thereof, only served to fuel the flames. To set the scene, the game was close, with the Dream leading 71-68 before losing 81-76 to the Fever Guerrier, who had been battling in the paint all night, being called for her 6th foul on Natasha Howard, not Clark, but the cameras didn't lie. Frustration seemed to focus on Clark, the golden girl of the Fever, whose fame has soared since joining the league. Some people thought Griner's remarks were directed at a referee, who said she said "whack call" instead, but conservative commentators' lip-reading consensus, reinforced by voices like former NCAA swimmer Riley Gaines, leaned heavily toward the interpretation of a racial slur. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, the WNBA's silence on the issue spoke louder than any official statement could, and this is where things take a shocking turn. The WNBA, which is fast to look into allegations of racism involving players like Angel Ree, did not feel compelled to look into Guerrier's alleged remarks. Days before, the league had spent almost 2 weeks looking into unverified claims of racist remarks made by Fever fans toward Ree during a game on May 17th, but had found no evidence. However, when Guerrier's outburst was captured on camera for the world to witness, the league went completely silent, with no investigation, no comment, and no accountability. Here's what they're not telling you, though. This double standard has fueled claims that the WNBA is shielding its veterans, especially Griner, while ignoring possible bias against Clark. The reason Guerrier, the league's biggest new star, would act out like this is due to the revolutionary change Clark has brought to the WNBA since her debut season. Since then, Clark has broken records and attracted enormous crowds, with games like the Mystics vs. Fever and Reese's Sky drawing 10,000 and 12,586 fans, respectively. Although her playmaking, long-range shooting, and scoring are apparent, her fame extends beyond her skill. For veterans like Griner, who have worked for years in a league that fought for mainstream recognition, it's about her marketability because she is the face of a new era that is drawing in viewers who had never heard of the WNBA before. Being famous right away could feel like a slap in the face for Clark.
They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
for the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
Well, that pretty much sounds like trash effing white girl.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So the whole market reacts to this with Brittney Griner, right? And then the other quote, Rob, then I'm going to wrap this up and then I'm going to go to Adam.
Guerrier's anger, whether it is aimed at Clark or the referees, appears to be the result of a deeper grievance. According to the league's circulating narrative, which is emphasized by voices like Skip This, some players believe that Clark is the white girl who is stealing the show due to her marketability and race rather than her skill. Bailey's conjectured that Griner's remarks were indicative of a more general belief that Clark's appeal stems from the league's attempt to promote a white star in order to increase viewership, and this is where things get even stranger. Although Guerrier, who has been outspoken about the WNBA's hardships and the salary disparity that compels women to play abroad, has profited from the league's increased prominence, she appears to have joined the chorus of people who perceive Clark as an outsider rather than appreciating her contribution to improving the game.
She says, this is from Brittney, every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose.
This tension is not brand new. Race favoritism and the distribution of the limelight have long been problems in the WNBA, and Clark's entrance has only made these fault lines worse. Her rivalry with Rhee, which began when they were in college, has already generated contentious conversations with overtly racist and gendered overtones. Rhee herself made fun of Clark on TikTok for being a white girl who is scared to catch this fade. The league did not sanction her for the joke, but what follows will leave you stunned. 2 days later, during a halftime interview against the Dallas Wings, Griner's outburst wasn't an isolated event. She stormed off to address referees and yell, "Be better." She then apologized half-heartedly. This tendency of lashing out points to a player who may be experiencing anxiety due to a shifting league where she is no longer the exclusive focus, and this is where things start to become worse. Players and spectators alike have criticized the WNBA's refereeing throughout the season, describing it as inconsistent at best and atrocious at worst. Guerrier's grievances regarding refereeing are not exclusive. The idea that Clark receives preferential treatment has turned into a lightning rod, even if many players believe the calls are inconsistent. Some contend that she is singled out for harsh penalties, such as the egregious one she got during the Rhee game, while others believe that referees shield her because they view her as the league's cash cow. Ironically, Guerrier has profited from the same system. Although Guerrier is the one complaining about discrimination and seems oblivious to the irony of her own behavior, her physically aggressive play style has rarely attracted the kind of scrutiny Clark receives for every move. The most significant aspect of the double standard in refereeing is that, despite Clark's status, she has been the target of physical play that frequently goes uncalled, while veterans like Griner are allowed to continue their aggressive style. This discrepancy feeds the idea that Clark is being unfairly singled out by players as well as by a league that is reluctant to discipline its established stars. When Guerrier's alleged slur went unreported, it sent a message that certain players can cross lines without facing consequences, while Clark, who has been nothing but professional, is left to navigate a minefield of jealousy and animosity. Fans are pointing to the double standard after Guerrier's remarks caused a swift and harsh backlash on social media, with people like Riley Gaines and conservative commentators like Ben Shapiro denouncing the WNBA's hypocrisy. If Clark had said something similar, the headlines would have been incessant. Indiana. You won't believe how it turns out that Governor Mike Braun even voiced his opinion, calling for an inquiry into Guerrier's remarks and an apology to Fever supporters. Some have accused the WNBA of accepting anti-white bigotry while actively monitoring other forms of bias, but the league's inaction has simply widened the gulf. Here's what makes this even more absurd. Guerrier's actions aren't limited to Clark. They also represent a larger issue in the WNBA where veterans feel that younger players are taking their place. Griner, who has battled for respect in a league that has frequently been disregarded, may view Clark's rise as a threat to her legacy, which is where things take a wild turn rather than mentoring the next generation. Clark's influence on the game, drawing crowds, increasing ratings, and securing endorsements has changed the game, but it has also exposed insecurities. Guerrier is not alone in her outbursts. Players like Rhee have also made disparaging remarks about Clark, implying a pattern of animosity toward the league's new favorite. In the end, Gurrier's outburst feels like an instant karma moment. She attempted to criticize Clark or the system, but it backfired, exposing her to criticism and rekindling discussions about WNBA fairness. The future of the league isn't with people holding onto old grudges. Rather, it's with players like Clark who are rewriting the script. The question now is whether Griner and the WNBA will take note of this, or allow it to fester. Clark, meanwhile, keeps shining and letting her game do the talking.